Well, these are the original Dulce papers. They were written in pencil by Mr. X, who lives in Henderson. And the reason he wrote them down was so that I could distribute them. And there's a page of information, and then there's the drawings here that you can see are of the lab, and the vats with the human meat in it, and the test tubes growing the humans, and different. This is the womb with the different humans, and the different vats.
And then where did these papers, the drawings, come from?
Mr. X copied them from the photographs that Thomas Castillo gave to him to hide.
Okay.
Mr. X got one of the boxes. One of the boxes was hidden in the mountains near Dolan Springs, which is southeast of here on your way to Kingman. So the deal was they were after, and then I took these, and what I did was typed it up and made these black and white drawings from the pencil drawing, because you couldn't see the pencil drawings very clearly. So you see you have the vat here, and the little thing that comes down and says seems to keep water vibrated. It was an amber liquid, and it gives the approximate dimensions. It says looks like large pieces of pale meat in cloudy waters, submerged, not floating. Each one of these is the description of one of the photos that Castillo gave Mr. X. Here's a picture of the cameras on the doorway to scores of tanks or more. This is...
Now I forget, what happened to Thomas Costello?
I'm going to tell you. So here's a picture of these wombs are hooked into machines. Wombs submerged in sort of yellow liquid, looks thicker than water, and these humans are growing there. Creatures float in amber-colored water. Womb is grayish globs of yellow, white in grooves. Dozens of creatures in each womb. Can't count the tanks, maybe scores or 100. These wombs were 2 feet vertically and 3 to 4 feet horizontally. These creatures...
wait. Sorry. It's just, I'm having battery problems here.
Okay, keep going, because
No.
we're okay. I've got 2 cameras on him, hon.
It doesn't matter. We can shop. We've got all day. Not a problem. Right. Thank you, John.
The creatures, if you took them out of this womb, here's what it would look like if they placed them in your hands. They have 3 fingers, 2 toes. They're not human. The color is wrong. Looks blue-gray. They have a very thin skin, and they're about 6 inches high. These are what the test tubes look like. The room light was pink-purple, bright in some areas. Hundreds of these various stages of growth. In other words, these tubes, these things that growing here, are in various stages of growth. Wispy hair, not quite a nose. The mouth looks sealed. The womb looks gray. Veins look dark gray creature, white pale eyes, dark lids. Can't find a gender. 2 toes, 3 fingers. Liquid amber color, not completely clear. Looks like the glass tube is about 5 foot high. Then this is various information. We don't know what that is, but that was in the papers. So Costello made 5 or 6 of these waterproof, wrapped in plastic containers, and they had 25 black and white photos, a videotape with no dialogue, and a set of papers that included technical information of the alleged jointly occupied U.S. alien facility 1 kilometer beneath the Archuleta Mesa near Dulce, New Mexico. Several persons were given the above package to hold for safekeeping. Most of those given the package were shown what the package contained, but were not technically oriented or knew very little about what they were looking at. So Mr. X was given one, hit it, and the deal was Thomas was on the run, and Dulce or any of those other operations send out bounty hunters, and these are like bikers or stuff that go find somebody for money, and they're very serious about their occupation, and usually it doesn't take very long to go get somebody. But anyway, Thomas told Mr. X, I'm going to be here every 4 months, just to show you that I'm alive, or I'll be in contact. If I miss 2 4-month contacts or 8 months, 2 in a row, then you can release these papers. So this all happened in 1987, and I think 1993 or 94 was when Costello missed his connections. In other words, he missed the contact at the first 4 months, and the second at 8 months. So it was decided to go and get the box. I didn't go myself, but I believe Bill Hamilton did. I think he was one of them, and I think Tal was another one, but I'm not sure. I don't remember. It's been, almost 20 years ago, and I don't remember. But I do remember that it was a serious effort, that they made at least 6 expeditions in to find this box, and it was never found.
This was at the top of the mountain, is that correct?
It wasn't at the top. It was. I don't think it was at the top. It was hidden about halfway up.
Oh,
but like I said,
there was like a spell or a black magic, some kind of spell cast on that whole area around the box.
It could have been. I do know that there is nothing secret that any of us do. We're always on film or video or some kind of camera, have been for 40 years. There's absolutely nothing we can hide, nothing we think or say or do is secret.
Meaning you guys are surveilled because you were involved?
No, everybody, every person on the face of the earth.
Oh, right.
There's nothing that anybody does is secret. And the Navy, some of the stuff that Linda Howe came out with, as a matter of fact, I had a chance to talk with her the other day. She had found some papers in her garage that looked pretty technical. And she said she had got them in the late 80s, but she had never read them. And so now that she had taken the time to read them, she thought they had a lot of value, and were they mine? And I said, no, they don't sound like mine. And she said, okay, well, I'm going to post them. So she posted them on her website, and somebody on ATS says, hey, man, or you got to look at this. Or it was maybe not on ATS. I think it was gone by then. It was somebody like on Open Minds. And I said, okay, I'll take a look. So I went over there, and it was, you have to pay dues, or, you have to pay a fee to get on her stuff. So I couldn't get in. So I wrote her, and I said, Linda, I'm a little short at this time. Can you let me look at them? I never heard from her. So I got somebody to download it, and I read it all. And all it was stuff that me and Tal and everybody else in the industry, somebody had taken all that and put it together like it was one big, document.
Oh, okay.
All of our stuff. And there were some hidden phrases. The one I remember specifically was talking about a former attorney general in Nevada named Brian, and I forget what his first name was. His last name was Brian, and it was spelled B-R-I-A-N, and his real name is B-R-Y-A-N. For some odd reason, I have the capacity to recall stuff that happened, 50 years ago exactly, and I don't know what it is, but I can recall stuff I read, stuff, people I talked to, anything to do with this. It's instant, and I don't know how it works, because there's a lot of other stuff I don't remember.
Huh.
But
Wow.
Stuff like reading, I can take that document, read right through it, and say, no, I know who wrote each one of these, and recall that.
That's
so
great.
The document that she had was not secret at all.
So the box was never found. What about the other, 6 boxes?
Each one was given to a friend, and none of them was found.
Okay.
So that's pretty much the end of the Dulce story. It comes up every once in a while.
What about Mark Richards? Have you ever heard of him? He's the guy he's a guy who said he was a security guard, who is in prison right now for another, it's like a setup. He says it's set up for murder. His wife
Total.
Joanne, I guess, is out.
Total unadulterated bullshit.
Really?
And that's from 3 of us who have researched that story backwards, forwards, upside down. That's the Dark of the Moon or something like that. I mean, it was crazy. When I started to read that, I actually paid for it. I sent, actually paid real money for that story. And, because he says he was a test pilot for my father and back in the back in the late 40s, and that would have fit because, he did use test pilots back in then. And some of it sounded pretty interesting, but then when I read the attack on Dulce and the attack, the Dulce story, the fight, what we call the Dulce War, not a war at all. What happened is they were in this is like in the late 70s, I think it was 79. One Gray was giving a class to about 40 U.S. scientists, and it was at Los Alamos or Dulce, and it was just a class, and our guards, the Delta Force, were advised that they were not allowed to go into a classroom with a Gray or approach a Gray or be anywhere near a Gray with a firearm of any sort. And so, whatever reason, this security guard walked into this instructional class with a weapon, and the Gray killed him instantly. I mean, there was no warning, no nothing, just killed him instantly.
Wow.
And so the Delta Force, who were watching it on the monitor, went in force to get, to take revenge on something they had witnessed. And when it was all said and done, there was 66 people killed, and included all the scientists and all the Delta Force. Now,
By the one Gray.
by the one Gray. So I had heard this story, and when Bob was at S4, he read the identical story. He heard the word Dulce. The only difference between the document, the briefing he read on the massacre, was that it occurred at Area 51. And the only possible explanation that I have for that is his clearance hadn't advanced high enough for him to know about Dulce. Because it didn't happen at Area 51, it happened at Dulce. But he did read the whole description. And he talks about that. Maybe we'll have time. There's a videotape over there called the Bob Chronicles, and very few people have seen it. And what it was when Bob decided not to go back to work at the test site, and he was, he was going nuts then because they were shooting his tires out. He came here the day they shot his tires out, or the one tire out. And, he came here, he said, "John, I'm going to turn myself in." I said, "Bob, there's nobody to turn yourself into. Now stop it," And so he slept on the couch that night. And I lost my train of thought there. He slept on the couch. What was I talking about, right?
Before that, we were talking about
Well,
his having seen these documents. He wasn't clear to know about Dulce, but he
Oh, yeah.
it was about the firefight.
but you're saying no. But you were saying this tape, the tape that he recorded.
Oh, the tape is the Bob
haven't
Chronicles.
seen.
So anyway, right after that, George Knapp went in and did an hour interview over at his house, and to get everything on tape that he could possibly tell us, so that if they did kill him, that at least we'd have that. And that was before we made the the Lazar tape. The Lazar tape, it took 3 or 4 months to do, and then that was a professional one. But what George wanted to do was get the meat of the information right now,
So
so
you're
that we
saying
had
you
it.
have that?
Yeah, it was right there. I gave it to Ron
Garner?
Garney the other day to put it on DVD.
Did you? Is he going to try to sell it?
I don't think so. I told him, no, it's we tried to get it. I talked to George about it, and he said, no, technically it belongs to Channel 8, so you can't do anything with it. I said, okay, I just show it to friends, to say
Yeah,
that.
we'd love to see it.
Sure.
That'd be great.
So in a
No.
few minutes here, we'll take a little break, and I'll show that.
I'd like to ask you how that dovetails into Phil Schneider's story about the firefight at Dulce.
Well, you know, Phil's a great guy. I met him on several occasions. It's a great story. I think there's aspects of Phil Schneider's story that are true, but I don't think the Dulce is, and I don't think he was in a Dulce firefight. Because everybody got killed there. And
Well, isn't
Phil's
it possible there's more than one?
firefights?
Yeah.
Possible, but Bob only read one.